Now, not long ago, Portland, Oregon was hailed as the model city, proof that radical progressives could create a wealthy urban utopia, albeit with a hippie granola sort of vibe to it. Lefty Comics even created an entire TV show called Portlandia. Remember that? That was showered with accolades for its depiction of Portland as a quirky, fun little city run by friendly vegans and environmentalists. And remember all those Keep Portland Weird signs and T-shirts? Well, maybe they should focus on keeping Portland safe instead.
According to Portland police, they responded to 110 shootings just last month. That's about 4 shootings a day. Even more alarming is almost 85% of shootings this year have been in North and East Portland. City and county leaders are still scrambling to slow the gun violence, but so far, community members have not seen any results.
I don't know, exactly what the answer is, but I know that one thing is it's harder now when you call the police, it takes longer to get here.
The city has now passed a grim milestone, a record 67 homicides this year, which follows last year's 83% spike in homicides. Now, Portland now has more murders than bigger western cities like San Fran and Seattle. And we must never forget that this violence did not occur in a vacuum. It took root after Oregon Democrats made it clear that it considered President Trump a bigger threat to Portland than the radicals who were occupying entire city blocks and setting fires.
Their forces are not needed here, they are not wanted here, and they're making a challenging situation worse.
The protests in Portland have been overwhelmingly peaceful. Crime in Portland and across Oregon was down before Donald Trump sent in a secret police.
These guys came in like a bulldozer. It's a disaster the administration's own making.
Oh, please. Democrats are the ones who created the disaster, and it is a deadly one. Now, who knows how many lives were lost and damage was done after they cut $27 million from the police budget just last year. And earlier this year, the state passed what is, in effect, pro-rioter legislation, banning police from using force against them and charging violators with only second-degree official misconduct. Now, meanwhile, Portland liberals were coddling and encouraging the Marxist revolutionaries who were attacking police officers and putting the city to the torch.
There is violence and there is destruction. What's your message to the people on the streets tonight?
My message is you've been heard. Thank you for calling out the administration for what it's doing. It's unconstitutional. It's an affront to democracy.
Now, this only, of course, demoralized the police. Since August 2020, nearly 200 Portland police officers have left the force. Now, the police are so undermanned, they can't even enforce routine traffic violations, and they certainly don't have the numbers to keep rampant homelessness in check. But have no fear, because Oregon Governor Kate Brown and friends are focused on thwarting the real threat, right-wing violence. In August, they wrote, "The threat and use of violence against people and the destruction of property to further bigoted political or social objectives undermines our growing commitment to a truly inclusive community. We're committed to working together to keep our community safe and counter dangerous efforts to undermine democracy." But when Antifa committed $500,000 in damage last week in the city's downtown area, did any of those democracy protectors condemn it? Of course not. They don't care, because they'll say anything to maintain power and control, no matter how devastating to their constituents.
Emre Taskin and his wife Yashim are living in a nearly constant state of anxiety. Their business has been vandalized or broken into, the windows shattered 4 times so far during the pandemic.
In total, since March 2020, we spent almost $20,000 for all this. People who are doing this, they feel really comfortable while doing that. They feel like nothing's gonna happen, no response will come as quick.
Now, this is all kind of the sad, final, predictable act of everything liberal Democrats touch. From Detroit to Oakland, now Portland, this reign of terror always ends with lawlessness, an exodus, and of course, death. And that's the angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.